Stop what you're doing right now. History just happened on the floor of Bitcoin 2025 in Las Vegas. The rumors, the denials, the speculation, it all flipped. Trump media has officially pulled the trigger on one of the biggest institutional Bitcoin plays the world has ever seen. We're talking about $2.5 billion raised from about 50 heavyweight investors with plans to create a massive Bitcoin treasury, potentially rivaling the biggest public stacks out there. As of today, Trump media is set to become one of the first major public companies since MicroStrategy to move this aggressively into Bitcoin. Are you listening? Now, the deal's expected to close in the next few days. And once it does, all eyes are on how much Bitcoin they're actually going to stack. Are you listening? Trump pulling the MicroStrategy playbook. But make no mistake, this is the first major step in Bitcoin treasury strategy that could send shockwaves across Wall Street. Let that sink in. The same conference where just last year, Trump stunned the world for calling for a US strategic Bitcoin reserve. The same stage where the $3 billion rumor sparked a media firestorm, only to be swatted down as fake news. And now, not even 24 hours later, it's real. The game has changed right here in real time. So why does this matter for you if it's not obvious already? Because when an empire moves first, the rest of the market scrambles to catch up. This is no longer just about politics, headlines, or even hype. This is about supply shock, institutional FOMO, and a new era where Bitcoin is treated as a crown jewel asset on the balance sheet of a company that's rewriting the rulebook for corporate America. Stick with me because by the end of this show, you'll understand why the next Bitcoin supply shock may have already started and why the crowd is always the last to catch on. See the windows behind me right here? That's right, I'm here in Vegas for you guys. This is gonna be one of the wildest shows I've done in a long time. It absolutely blew my mind. Let's rewind for a second. Last year at Bitcoin 2024, Trump made waves in Nashville, promising to put Bitcoin on America's balance sheet and cut the red tape around the digital asset. At the time, plenty of people shrugged it off as campaign noise. But today, the energy, it's much different. Trump himself may not be here, but his inner crypto circle is, and they're stronger than ever. This is a coordinated power play. Vegas is crawling with heavy hitters. JD, vice president, now Bitcoin's champion in DC, crypto czar David Sachs laying the groundwork for new digital economy, digital assets policy director Bo Hines shaping policy from the inside, and of course, Eric and Don Jr. Trump leading bold new strategies with the titans of Bitcoin and Wall Street. Just walking along the floor of Vegas, you can feel the tension in every conversation at this conference. Will Don Jr. announce a radical new DJT treasury strategy? Is Eric about to unveil a major mining partnership or a new ETF breakthrough? Today, I'm meeting with Vivek Ramaswamy and Bo Hines to give you some kind of idea of what's going on here at the ground floor in Vegas 2025. But let's pull back the curtain on the new architecture the Trump team is building right under everybody's noses. This $2.5 billion raise didn't just pop up out of nowhere. Back in April, Trump media locked in a deal with Crypto.com and Yorkville America Digital to launch a new suite of Made in America ETFs for both crypto and US equities with a patriotic edge. These products are rolling out this year on Trump's Truth.fi platform, with Crypto.com handling the distribution. Behind the closed doors, Trump media's board greenlit up to $250 million to be seated with Charles Schwab, fueling custom ETFs with direct Bitcoin exposure. That news alone sent DJT stock up 11%, and Crypto.com's Kronos token pumped more than 12%. Davis Polk, one of the top law firms on Wall Street, is now in the mix. And Don Jr., who manages his father's 59% DJT stake, is holding the keys to what comes next. Eric and Don Jr. are everywhere this week, working the conference, building the hype, and making it clear that more bullish news is brewing. Whether it's a huge buy, a mining expansion, or a new ETF innovation, or possibly even adding to the Bitcoin strategic reserve. The family is rewriting the playbook in real time. But understand how they pulled this off. You have to see just how far they've come up the crypto's risk curve. Let's go back to 2022, late 2022. The Trump's family first big leap into crypto. It started with the digital trading cards. You guys remember the NFTs that had the whole internet buzzing. So obviously they sold out in less than 24 hours, raking in over $4 million and driving $65 million in secondary trades. Critics called it a cash grab. Supporters called it culture. But either way, it proved the Trump brand could move serious money on chain. That was just the start, obviously. By 2024, they launched World Liberty Financial, the DeFi platform where Trump entities hold 60% stake and over $22 billion of WLFI tokens. Then came the Trump meme coin on Solana, which soared to $8.7 billion market cap in just a day or two. Trump even hosted a private dinner with the coin's top 200 holders at his Virginia golf club, a signal that digital capital is circling his family, even in the wildest corners of Web3. Fast forward a few months, and they're landing a $2 billion deal with Abu Dhabi's MGX for a stablecoin aimed at global settlement. Eric and Don Jr. then doubled down on hard assets, merging America's Bitcoin Corp with Gryphon Digital Mining and filing for NASDAQ IPO under the ticker ABTC. They pitched themselves as a team to double America's mining power, and the market took notice. What started as a punchline is now a multi-pronged institutional operation. NFTs, meme coins, DeFi, mining, and ETFs, each building on the last, all tied up together by relentless Trump ambition and branding. Now, with Bitcoin exchange balances at multi-year lows, the next Trump move could send shockwaves through the entire market. So, what should we actually be watching for as Bitcoin 2025 unfolds? I'm here, as you can see behind me, on the ground floor in Vegas, and you can feel the anticipation building with every passing hour. The wild card this year is both the Trump family and the heavyweight lineup of policy insiders and lawmakers floating around the conference. Word is, Senator Cynthia Lummis, America's original Bitcoin senator, has something big up her sleeve. My thought is maybe it's the strategic Bitcoin reserve, but we'll see. She's long been the driving force behind making Bitcoin mainstream in Washington, but the rumors are now next level. Some say she could take the stage to unveil the framework for a federal Bitcoin bill, one that would officially clear the path for US government or even individual states like Texas or Wyoming to begin accumulating Bitcoin as a reserve asset. There's talk of new public-private partnerships, legal clarity for states to hold Bitcoin on their books, or even a blueprint for national reserves to quietly stack Bitcoin without sparking taxpayer outrage. But that's not all. In a move that caught everyone off guard, the US Secretary of Homeland Security just added to the official conference agenda. Think about that for a second. Bitcoin can now be recognized as a matter of national security. Are you guys paying attention? That's a complete paradigm shift. And that's just what we're hearing out loud. Behind the scenes, the whispers are even wilder. Some are betting on a major ETF announcement, maybe a new spot Bitcoin product or something exotic like a mining-backed ETF that could pull in even more institutional money into the market. But the wildest speculation, it's that a Fortune 500 company or even a sovereign wealth fund might step into the spotlight and make it official. By the way, we've been buying Bitcoin for months or years. Imagine the shockwaves if a top US corporation or nation state reveals that they've been quietly stacking sats while everyone else was distracted. Something that we've been hypothesizing for years. That kind of announcement would instantly change the landscape, putting every other company and even the whole governments on notice that it's no longer just hedge funds and tech CEOs getting off zero. It's mainstream, it's strategic, and it's happening at the highest levels. If that news breaks, it will move the price and it'll flip the entire narrative overnight, unleashing a wave of FOMO and forcing every institution on earth to rethink their Bitcoin exposure. It will no longer be allocate 1 to 3%, but likely a heck of a lot more. And then there's always the chance of a last-minute regulatory twist, a federal policy rollout, stablecoin framework, or a regulatory sandbox for DeFi that would instantly ramp up the pro-crypto US sentiment. And that is needed. I'm here and I'm struggling. What's been done so far? What can I do as a builder? With ETF inflows surging and supply locked up at multi-year lows, this is the exact kind of setup where a single surprise can unleash wild volatility and a historic opportunity. Again, I'm asking you guys, are you listening and paying attention? And let's be real. This family, who everyone once dismissed as crypto outsiders, now has the clout to move both policy and price with a single announcement. That's the reality in Las Vegas right now. By the end of this conference, Trump's crypto empire might look even bigger, and the entire market may never be the same. Now let's break down the biggest headline of the day. Trump Media has just unveiled a historic $2.5 billion private placement offering, locking in roughly $1.5 billion from institutional investors in common stock and another $1 billion in convertible notes. And if you're wondering, a private placement just means that they raise this money directly from hand-picked big investors behind the scenes, not through the public stock market. It's how companies move fast and quietly when they want serious capital to make big plays. So what's their next move? They're putting Bitcoin front and center, building one of the largest corporate Bitcoin treasuries we've ever seen. These funds will buy Bitcoin directly, putting it squarely on Trump Media's balance sheet, with custody being held by Crypto.com and Anchorage Digital. Over 50 institutional investors are part of the deal. It's the first major crown jewel in Trump Media's strategy to become a powerhouse in America first economy. And listen to this. CEO Devin Nunes called Bitcoin an apex instrument of financial freedom. He says this treasury move isn't just about investment. It's about protecting the company from financial discrimination, powering future payments, utility tokens, and even new features across Truth Social and Truth Plus. Make no mistake, this is one of the largest Bitcoin treasury plays any public company has ever pulled off. If you needed a sign that the institutional wave is here, this is it. Moves like this will force every other public company, and maybe even governments, to take a hard look at their own balance sheets and ask themselves, are we already behind? Remember a few videos ago last week, I told you about China and how they fell behind, not getting on the gold bandwagon? Today's the same story. Let's tie this all together. Just 1 year ago, Trump stood on this stage and tossed out what most thought was a political theater, a bold promise of putting Bitcoin on America's balance sheet. Fast forward to today, and that vision has become the blueprint. The race to keep up with this new Bitcoin standard just hit hyperdrive. But here's what most people are missing. The headlines are never the real alpha. By the time the crowd catches on, the opportunity has already moved on. That's why I'm here on the ground floor in Vegas, reporting everything as it unfolds. If any new twists or game-changing news breaks, you'll get it from me first, right here and on my X account. Make sure you guys are following me on X because that's likely where it will really be breaking first. So if you want the real story, subscribe. Do me a favor, destroy that bell button if you appreciate hearing it here first and from the source directly. And let me know in the comments what you guys think this means for the next phase of this bull run. Is this the spark that sets off the next supply shock? Or is the biggest moves still hiding in the back rooms, waiting to erupt? Crypto always rewards those who see the empire before it rises. So guys, stay early, stay sharp, and remember, continue to keep stacking your Satoshis, your Bitcoin. And I'll see you on the next inflection point, right where history is being written.